Hello, dear friends. Someone called me naive for being an optimist, and I have reflected on the issue. Opinion piece: Shrewd innocence, common sense, preventive intelligence, be clever and innocent, respect for all sentient beings. The next 6 months will be crazy. Politeness does not remove the brave. Do not confuse kindness with stupidity. Let's start. The biggest mistake of society is to despise naivety and confuse it with stupidity. Being naive is a virtue that must be protected, since naive people tend to be easy targets for manipulation. But naivety is not incompatible with intelligence, but can go hand in hand with it. That is, a cunning innocence to avoid deception through the use of discernment and insight. It is true that all the religions of the world have been manipulated for political purposes to control the population and to prevent people from liberating themselves. But there is one thing in which they are right, that the way to heaven is holiness, purity from the heart, the absence of malice and selfishness, solidarity and compassion with all sentient beings. But to survive in a world of wolves, one must be clever as snakes and innocent as doves, and love God above all things and your neighbors as yourself. The concept of cunning innocence refers to an intelligent and insightful innocence. This term combines the qualities of innocence with subtle intelligence. Cunning is associated with traits such as being foxy, mischievous, or intelligent, while innocence is linked to being pure, candid, sincere, or free of guilt. Therefore, cunning innocence could imply a nuanced mix of innocence and intelligence, that is, a human being who is pure at heart, but who is subtly insightful and intelligent in avoiding deception. Confusion. There are those who confuse nobility with naivety and intelligence with malice, but courteousness or politeness does not take away from bravery. As the saying goes, there is a subtle difference between nobility, naivety, and intelligence that is sometimes confused. Nobility refers to virtue, generosity, and uprightness of character, which can clash with the hypocrisy of society. Naivety implies a lack of malice, sincerity, and purity, which can go on hand in hand with intelligence. Being naive doesn't mean being stupid, but rather maintaining a certain degree of innocence that society has not contaminated. Preventive intelligence is also a virtue, since it allows evil to be discerned and at its beginning, but intelligence evolves along with the ability to deceive. Therefore, a person can be noble, intelligent, and naive at the same time. The politeness of nobility does not take away from the braveness of intelligence. In fact, naivety and intelligence can coexist in the same human being. Saying that animals have more rights than people is a perverse argument that tries to divide us and confront us with our younger brothers, who are not as minor as they seem, since they lack ego, are masters of unconditional love, and are more spiritually evolved than some human beings. The Buddhist tradition speaks of sentient beings in general, who feel higher emotions such as love and affection, and this includes all animals and human beings since we come together as a family. What right does an animal have in a slaughterhouse? What right does an abandoned kitten or dog have that is hungry and cold? Common sense. According to Owen Waters, another version of the fear of the end of the world is circulating. He claims, they claims, that the sun is preparing to enter a calamitous micronova. Some fear mongers get even more creative and claim that there are space arcs piloted by aliens ready to come rescue us and take us off the planet to avoid that fate. They don't mention that with return to if civilization's electronic infrastructure had bent down. But let's not ruin a good horror story by asking common sense questions. Like kindness, common sense is a virtue that we must cultivate. Common sense says we should stop harboring the ideas of people who think spreading fear is entertaining, and remember this basic truth: we are children of the sun. Breaking news. Sorjafal believes that we are on the brink of a global conflict. Italy rejects the NATO chief's proposal to allow Kiev to attack Russia in depth. Pedro Sanchez donates 1 billion euros to Ukraine for weapons. Sanchez does not want Kiev to use NATO weapons to attack objectives in Russia. In 2023, Spain will reach a historical record. Spain reached in past a historical record in severe material deprivation in homes with children, according to Plataforma Infancia. Housing in Madrid breaks the bubble record after 24 months of rise. Hungary foresees dire consequences if EU militarism continues unchecked. Australia's constitution prevents confiscation of Russian assets. China advocates holding a peace conference that recognizes both Russia and Ukraine. New weapon of the Chinese army: robot dogs with machine guns. Middle East. UN court orders Israel to cease offensive in Rafah. So far, 124 governments around the world have promised to act on arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court. Extremist settler groups are attacking food trucks passing through the West Bank, attacking drivers and burning their cargo. Global outrage after the attack on the refugee camp in Rafah. Pelham believes that there is nothing more evil than bombing a civilian refugee camp full of displaced children. Americas. Severe and unprecedented weather hit the US this weekend. Mexico suffers its third heat wave with temperatures of up to 45 degrees Celsius. Tropical storm Ida forms in the Caribbean and threatens as a hurricane. Bukele orders a military siege in populated areas in the north of the capital of El Salvador. Economy. Oil rises after the OPEC Plus meeting. Europe returns to Russia gas while the Turkish sewer is created to avoid sanctions. The ECB is ready to start lowering rates, according to its chief economist. The Euribor will fall in May and will make mortgages cheaper for the second consecutive month. The agri-food industry in Mexico is skyrocketing. China sees largest bank withdrawals in history last month of just under 4 trillion yuan. Japan stocks just saw the biggest weekly outflow in history of $5.9 billion. China has detained dozens of state regulators, bankers, and finance chiefs in a corruption ring this year. China sold a record $53.3 billion in Treasury and agency bonds in the first quarter of 2024 and bought gold instead. Gold has outperformed dollar bonds by 75% since 2020. The Nigerian government placed an advertisement in the New York Times announcing an auction of its oil resources in a way that would benefit the Nigerian people. The BRICS Pay blockchain payment system is likely to agree on contracts in digital currencies, as well as the creation of new channels for payments between legal entities. The next 6 months are going to be completely crazy, according to precious metal expert and financial writer Bill Halter. This is an election year, and I think the next 6 months are going to be completely crazy, he says. Halter thinks both gold and silver are going much higher in 2024 and beyond, and this is the breakout year for both. Gold is on the bridge, according to Goldilocks. There is currently a large accumulation of cash in the markets by traders who are building their portfolios in ETFs backed by gold and the mining sectors of the market. When the QFS is clearly established with regulations and laws that will govern the new system, the trend towards fiat products is likely to reverse as consumers begin to realize that we are back on a gold standard with a set of protocols, digital assets, and stable coins that show consistency towards growth potential. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.